welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. And if you followed my last de-kitting, you'll know that I also have a few other kits to put my spares away and de-kit. I have this in rounds, so these are all my rounds and my special shapes. So I've done a couple of special shape projects. Those I'll put to the side and I'll sort of do them once I've done the rounds. But the first thing is to get those into order. So my daughter's put all her rounds into baggies because she needed to reuse the storage. And I've then transferred one lot into baggies because I needed the storage for my next painting, because I hadn't done the review. Anyway, it's now catch-up day, and I'm doing lots of filming. So first thing that I do is sort them out by number. Now these are all in number order, so that's not too bad, they can sit to the side. But first off, I do need to sort out the rest. So anything that's over a 3000 is going to go to the side for now, and I just want to get these in some sort of order, going up of course in the hundreds, so that I can then start putting things away, keeping an eye on these. These are in different size baggies because my daughter uses different sizes. So again, there's still going to be, that's a 3/8. There's quite a few. There's a few that are sort of in sandwich bags as well because she ran out of colours, ran out of bags. So that's a 210 and that's a 310. So we'll put those up there. 3/6, 9s, 6s, 2s. I'll just sort of put them into roughly the rights. They're 8s, 7s, 9s. So this is the bit that can take a little bit. You know, if they'd have all still been in tubs, it might have been a little bit easier, but it's not a big deal. And it means that when it goes to putting them away, sometimes if you do have a few to put away all at once, it can sometimes be a little bit easier. It can actually take a little bit less time because you're not hunting through, you know, you end up with numbers that double up. So what's that one? 712. So that's 700s. There's a lot of ones in this one. That's a 700, 500, 3000. 7s, 300s, 3000s. Oh, and then she obviously had some baggies that were the same as mine as well. 900s, 700s, 800. Oh, I put a 900 in the wrong place. Then we've got the ABs for this one, so I'll put those with the special diamonds because that's sort of the same place I keep them. 800s, 900s. Okay, so that's all the 900s together. Let's move those out of the way to try and create some space so I can bring my boxes in. They're all gone. 700s. Okay, so we've got 600s, 5, 4, 3s, 2s and 1s. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my first box of spares and then have a look at the 100s I've got. So I do have 100s in this as well. As I say, they are in order, so I can start there. That was a 200 and that was a 300. Okay, so first up is 150. So 150 in round. I do have some rounds and some squares mixed up. But what I'm doing as I go through each, as I'm putting them away, I don't do them while I haven't done it all in one, just because that's a bit too tedious. But that's the same baggie that I use, so I'll keep hold of those to reuse, and the big square ones I'll give back to my daughter. So what I am doing is I am making sure that there is a piece of paper inside each bag. Just helps to keep the bag standing upright, and also I'm not bothered now about keeping separate packets. So if any of them have a separate packet, I'm sort of combining them. So the idea is that for each colour, all I'll have is a bag for round and a bag for square. That's the idea behind it. Of course, some I end up with more than one bag, but the idea is that I'll just have one. So the next number that comes up is 152. So this is one that I must have had before. I've already got a baggie. I'm not too fussed if the shading is slightly different. It's not something that I'm worrying about anymore. As long as they're together, I'm just going by the number that the seller's given them. Then 153, which again I already have some round. It just needs a piece of paper, of which that one grabbed 2. Don't want it grabbing 2 because then I might have to cut some more. So that's 153. And then 154 I actually have has been in 2 paintings. So 154, when I go into that, I've got square and I've got square baggies. I will normally combine those together. I'm not going to do it at this point just because they are both pretty full. And I'm conscious that there is only so much you guys want to watch of dekitting. So 154, that's that bag emptied. I will get rid of all the labels on stuff afterwards. And then we also get to tip those in as well, if they don't fly around everywhere. So that's 154 altogether. So that's the 100s done already. 154 seems to have been a popular one in square. I've got 2 full bags. What I'd normally do then is I'd normally just peel off these labels as I go along. They peel off quite nicely off these tubs. They seem to come off a little bit better. Just helps me to keep track of where I'm up to. I will also peel them off the likes of the bags, but most of those I'll now do at the end. Okay, so 200s. There's no more 200s in there, so we literally have 209, 2010, 211 and 225. So we'll get to the hundreds. What did I say was the first one? 209. So at the moment, all I have is 209 in square. So I'm going to pop a piece of the paper in while I'm here. But I do need to make up a baggie for the round because I don't have one. So the label, quite simply, I just do 209-S for square. And it's not a square, it's a round. So we'll get rid of that and do it again. So I do 209-R for round. That's just, you know, you can visually see whether they're square or round, but it's just easy because they go up in the top corner of the bag. If I'm flicking through because I need to check a number either to pass on to somebody else or to check it for myself, it's easier to see than pulling out the whole bag to determine whether it's square or round. So 209, I now have square and round. And then 210, I don't have those either. So 210-round. Make sure I get the right one. Now these are going to be fun because these are in a sandwich bag, so I think we might have to put these into a tray first. Say we did a doorstep drop off of diamond paintings for my daughter because she'd run out, she'd finished her diamond art club, and she got like she lives 20 minutes away, so she literally got the notice that my husband was on the way. And she only had 15-20 minutes to de-kit it all because she decided to send the Diamond Heart Club home so that I could review it. And she ran out of baggies. So sandwich bags for the win, so that could be done. But that's fine. Say I tend to keep hold of the spares for both of us, which is probably also why I've got so many. Okay, and then 211, I don't have those either. I do have less numbers in the round than I do in the square. And I'm going to switch baggies with this, but that is because these are bigger bags than what I use. The bags that I use are thinner, so that they fit in my storage. But I will keep hold of these so that my daughter can use them for her projects. I'm sure there'll be diamonds that will come back to me in these. And we'll just start that little merry-go-round. So that's 211. We'll get that one away, and then we've got 225. I haven't got that one either. Now this one is in one of my baggies, because it was from a project that I wanted the storage container for, so I peeled the label off my storage container and stuck it on the front, so that's why it's got a symbol as well. So what I'll do is I'll just pop the piece of paper in there I've been putting in to make sure it's rigid, and that will just go on there and go straight in. No need to mess about with that one. So 225. Okay, so that's the 200s. Now if we go to the 300s, I do have a few in this storage. So there is some here, but that's the project I'm currently working on. I sort of started combining the two because I was impatient and I hadn't done a review video and I wanted to start the painting. Okay, so first up we've got 307, if I go in number order. And that again is one that I don't have. Do tend to find with rounds I don't have as many as I do with squares, not currently. So I do find that I'm creating bags for rounds more often than not. But of course over time, and because I'm doing quite a few more rounds at the moment, with doing a lot of the fan cells ones, of course that'll get less and less as time goes on. So 307, get that one in there, and then 309 I've got in this one. Okay, I've got something in here. Okay, that's square. That looks like it's one that my daughter's passed to me, and I don't know why I've not labelled it up. So we'll label one up for square and we'll label one up for round. And I am going to have to cut some more paper. So I'll have a pause because I do want to try and make sure that as many as possible has got this paper in, just to stop the bags sagging a bit. So I'll get that done and I'll come back. Okay, so I've cut some more paper. For anybody that is interested, that is cut 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches is the size of that. So it's smaller than the bag. Excuse me. It's smaller than the bag, but it's just a matter of making it a little bit stiffer when there's not as many diamonds in there. So let's pop those in as well. Oh, excuse me. So we'll relabel these. We've got 309 in square, 309 in round. I am now sat down as well because there's only so much you can stand up. Okay, 310. I already have 2 bags of 310 in round. So let's add these in for this one first. The other one is in a sandwich bag, so I am going to have to put them into a tray first. These pots are easier to fill up when you're working from either end. Of course, they're just easier to get the angle to tip. But, ooh. Okay, we've got a lot of diamonds in this one. But my big tray is in the house. So we'll have to use this one. We'll make it work. Though I don't think I'm going to run out of 310s. I really don't know why I'm fishing around the bag for one. But hey, it's just what we do, isn't it? We fish around, we pick up those ones that go here, there and everywhere. And we actually are never going to need them. Are these all even going to fit? Oh, they're going everywhere. Okay. I'm actually thinking that bag is getting pretty full. It might be time for another bag anyway. So let's see if we can get them to go in a little bit easier in a fresh bag. Less spillage then, I think, as well. They're not sat in the tray right really for pouring. It's way too overfilled, but let's make a mess together. There we go. So we end up with another bag of 310s in round. They're getting close to, I have even more in squares, but we're definitely ending up with a lot. So my labels, 310 round. Though it's not hard to mistake 310, really. I know in the DMC numbers that the diamonds that I don't have DMC numbers for, I also know there's a load of 310 in those, so I'm sure I'll be filling that bag up in time. Okay, next one is 311, and I don't have one in there. I have labels everywhere at the moment. Okay, let's finish using this sheet up. 311 in round. Baggy, little piece of paper, throw them all in. I've got one that's trying to escape, but I will catch that. Oh, two, one either side. Get them to flatten. Oh, there is loads of numbers. This is because none of them are getting tipped into my Heaven and Earth designs. It always seems as though it takes me longer for rounds, and I think that's just because I'm going through so many different colours. Okay, what's next? 315. So 315, I do have some rounds here. They don't have the paper in yet. So we'll bob that in, and then it's easier to tip them in from a corner because you can just do it on an angle and stick the whole thing in the bag. So 315 is done, and that's that pot. That row of pots completely done. This will sort of help me free up some storage. I'm going to do some kitting up later. I think I'm going to get a few different kits ready. Okay, 318. Yeah, I have loads. I have those. That's a very popular colour, so I have those ready in a bag, even with the paper inside as well. And I've just used, I think it's 160 GSM paper. It's like it's not quite card, but it's definitely thicker than your normal printer paper for using those. Okay, 333. Do I have any of that? I have it in square, but I don't have it in round. So the square needs a piece of paper. To make sure that that's as sturdy as it can be. And then I need a label. So 333-R. Okay, sorry about that. I'll pull up my chair again. It's the only problem with having a filming day is it's either the battery's going or I fill up my memory card. So that time it was the memory card. So I've had to have a dig about, check that I've got all the videos off a memory card so that I can use this one. So I've actually just thought, I don't know if did I wipe that memory card before I put it in? Okay. I might have to have a look. So, big apologies. Let me sort out that bag. So that one's done. So I try not to get myself in a kerfuffle. I've got things importing on the computer. And I've got memory cards lined up, but I need to check whether I actually wipe this memory card or not so that I can keep going. I'll be back with you. Okay, so I hadn't wiped the memory card, but it should have enough storage space for this, and then I can start getting, I'll just have to have a session on the computer and get some videos sorted and uploaded. So 340, oh, we have a baggie for this one, always quicker when we do. Conscious that there is a lot of diamonds for us to put away for this one, so I hope you're all either doing your own de-kitting maybe, or diamond painting while you're watching this, otherwise it could get tedious. Oh, I've got 336 as well, I've missed that one, so let's go back. 336 in round. Wow, they are two different colours, but I'm going to stick with the overall plan, people, and just put them all together. So that's only one piece, just because we want this job done. So let's get those away. I've told myself I want to kit up some more, and I've told myself I need to get these all away first. I am still in the middle of one as well, which is why these colours are still being used, but I want to get a few kitted up while I'm having a video day, get a few ready so that I've got a few different variety of videos. Okay, so 371, so it looks like we have some multiple bags here. Looks like I've tipped some multiples into this Ever Moment before. They are not all one brand, so we'll get rid of the Ever Moment sticker and we'll combine these squares before I combine the rounds. One of these days I will have to just go through and see if there's any that haven't got it anymore, just so that I can draw a line under it, but for now we'll do it as we go along. So let's get all those 371 squares done and together, and then the round, oh, I've got too much air in that, let's get some air out. The round, we have a baggie, so we'll put our piece of paper in and then we can tip that one in, and that is the 300s done. Whoop whoop. 400s, there's not as many, so that should be a bit quicker. So what are we on? 371. 371. There's some colours that I don't have yet, but I do have most of them. Definitely have most of them. That's some of my bad drawings of symbols as well that you'll find on those labels. Okay, 400. So we've got 414 first. Is that here? Yeah. So 414 in round. We already have a baggie. I did used to do my labels on a Dymo label maker, but I just found it was using too much of the Dymo label. It just wasn't doing it right. It just cost too much. It just became a lot easier to just write on them. So that's that one done. And then 498. There's not that many 400 numbers according to this, or not that they seem to get used. And again, we have a baggie for round, which is a plus. Makes this just a little bit quicker. And we'll get those red ones all tipped in together. $4.98. Oh, what is it? Okay, so 400s are done. Do we feel like we're getting anywhere yet, people? I don't know if you dare say, if you're doing your own with it, do you feel like you're getting anywhere? Okay, 500s, I've only got these two and these two. So 519 is the first one, and I do have a bag for round. So it's a lot easier once you start getting to the point where you already have the bags. It does become a lot easier to put these away, but of course that builds up over time, the more and more paintings that you do. But I find this storage system is probably one of the most compact that will allow you to have a lot more of certain colours than others. I did use the system with a binder, so like with baseball cards, where you slotted them in, but I did find that some colours, especially the likes of 310 or even this colour down here, there's just too many. There was just too many to get slotted in. So 550 in round, we have a bag with a piece of card, because again this is a popular one, or a piece of paper, sorry, already there. So it's just a matter of ticking them in, and this is where when you have a kit, when you're doing multiple kits and you end up with the right colour for both, just makes it that little bit quicker. So 550, get rid of the label. Just tend to pull them off as I go along. It's like a little sense of accomplishment to get them clear. And then 554. So, and this one I only have square. So while I'm here, I'll pop in a piece of paper. And then, I mean, at the moment they're that full, my boxes, that they don't tend to have much problem standing up. But 554 dash round, and then baggy. Oh, paper. I get myself in a rhythm eventually. All this memory card kerfuffle's knocked me out of sync. My memory card does a couple of things. It does save after about 20 minutes, I think, 20 or 24 minutes. To make sure, you know, that I don't lose footage, which is good. But then of course every now and then it just fills up, because especially when I'm doing bulk filming like today. Okay, so we've got no 600s in here, but we've got 600s here. So let's get some of those away. So 604 we don't have, and then 605, while I'm here I'll have a look, we don't have that either. So 604-R and 605-R, and they're already in the right type of bag, because these were from the bird one that I did, so that makes it a little bit easier. Just pop in a piece of paper to help them to stand up, and I can just switch out the labels, just because that's got all the symbols on. I know some people will bag up at the end of every project and then you know, just put all the bags together. I just don't have the space for that. I need to be able to compact them down a bit. So 604 done, 605 done, and then 677. I don't have that one either. So 677-round, and I just need to switch bags on this one because they're a different size. And I think these bags, if I remember rightly, are about 2.5 inch by about 3.5 inch, something like that. Might be 2.25 actually. I did get them from eBay, and I think it's about £4 for 1,000. So not a lot of pennies, and they're all the same size, and they're all a bit universal, which makes things a bit tidier. So 6, 777. Okay, so that's the 600s done. So now onto the 700s. Let me just find the ones, because I moved them out of the way. So there's quite a lot of 700s. So I'm going to split them up a little bit more. So 40, 20, 90, 30, 18, 40s, 90s, 90s. What was that one? 7-1, so 712. And then I have 1 and a bit of this. So 7-1s. 712 is first. It's the lowest number I've got, and I've got that in squares. So 712 in round. Get my label ready first off, and then get myself paper and a bag, and this one's in a sandwich bag. So let's see if I can get them all into one corner first. There's not as many as there is 310s though, so this should be, ooh, if I don't send them flying when I open the bag. Ugh. It's times like this I wonder why I save spares, but I'll be glad if I ever run out and find that I have it. Okay, so that's that emptied. So let me get all the ones that decided to go here, there and everywhere, just to test my patience. Let's get these all collected up. Okay, and then tip those in. There we go. I think we've managed to save it. So that's 712. And then 718, which I actually have twice. And I do have a baggie for them. So 718, we'll tip this one in. It's quite a nice vivid pink, that one. So 718, save that baggie for my daughter. And pop that one in. Oh, there's 3 different shades in there. Variety, spice of life. Okay, so the next batch I have in bags, oh no, I do have a 720, so I have 2 720s, and I have already got a bag for this one as well. You start to recognise the colour numbers as well, so I did have a feeling I'd have a bag for this one. So that's one. And there's a second. It's like a burnt orange. 720. Okay, what are we on to next? 730. So 732, which is a khaki green. Do I have that one? Nope. 732-R. I'm sure I will have labelled one of these up wrong as I'm going along, but it's a long process, people. It's a very long process. Okay, 732. So I hope everybody is doing well, by the way. I hope you're all good, mind, body and soul. Oh, I'm sure we all have our ups and downs, especially at the moment. Okay, so we've got 741, 740, 741 and 742. So let's have a look. 740, I've got 741 I haven't, 742 I have. So let's write a label for 741. We'll do these as like a mini bulk. So 740 first. These are a lot more vivid orange colours. These are one of the bags, same as mine. I did give my daughter a pack of some of the 1,000 that I got, and I think they've slowly but surely come back to me. 742. Ooh, dropped them everywhere, didn't I? So that's that one, and then 741, which we need a bag for. Bag and paper. Quite a few diamonds left from this one, but this one was a Diamond Art Club painting, this one originally. Or these diamonds are left over from. And that's the sticker sheet gone. Mixture of kitting up for kits and putting spares away. Okay. Oh, and I've lost one. I'm not even going there, finding out which one that came from. Okay, so 741 can go, sorry, 740, 741, and then 742 in with the squares. Okay, 754. We have a baggie for. Get those joined up. And 782, and then we get into all the 79s, which are all the blues. Okay, 782 I do only have square, 782-R. So it's amazing how quick you can sort of rack up the amount of variety of colours and diamonds that you have just by working through paintings. You just end up with colours that just you haven't had before, and before you know it, you have loads. Okay, 782, and then as I say, we've got the 79s, which is always a popular colour. It's getting full again, this box. I don't want to go into 3 because they all fit on my shelf nicely. Okay, and that's another tray done, which is like a little bit of a yay. Okay, so we've got 796, 797, 798, 799, and we've got 792. So let's start with 792, of which we have baggies in both square and round. Try and flatten it out as much as possible so that they take up the whole vertical space that they've got. There we go, 792, so add those in. Okay. And then there is such a colour as 793, which I do have, and 794, but 796. Oh, I don't have that one yet. 797, I do. 798, I don't. And 799, I do. So we'll sort of do those in a bulk as well. They're the 800s. So 796, I need a label for. and then I need a label for 798. Okay, so I'll do these in order just to try and not confuse myself when I'm doing 4. So that's 1 down. And then 797, we have a bag and already has the card in. Come on. A little bit of static going on with these last couple. But if you shake the bag enough, they eventually realise that you want them out. So 797, 798 is in the same type of baggie that I use, so that's a little bit easier. Just stick the label straight on that one. And then 799, which we just need to add in. They jumped everywhere. I got a bit impatient. Okay, see how much I can flatten those out. There we go. Okay, so that's a bulk set done. So let's get those away. So 796, and we can drop it in. 797, and you can always build up these sort of insert cards as you go along as well if you want. I just did start with the plastic wallets in a folder, so I'd done all the stickers so that I could label all the binder up, and then I realised it wasn't going to work for me, so I ended up changing them all back. Okay, so 800s, so we've got 890, 860, 819, 832, 898, 826, 825 and 823 again. And then I've got 800s here. So 823, I actually have the same colour in all 3 paintings. But we'll start with 819. And I should have some of that. Yeah, it's a pale pink, that one. I think it might be a colour that DMC have discontinued in cotton, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, but it's definitely still used in diamond painting. I've had a few that have had 819, though it is in my Heaven and Earth Designs, I think, 819, so maybe it isn't discontinued, maybe I've got confused. Okay, so that's that one done. And then 823 is the next number, so I get to get rid of, and I've got a baggie for it, so I get to get rid of 3. It's been used in all 3 paintings that I'm dekitting, and it means I'm only having to find the number in my spares and get them out once, which is always a bit of a bonus. So we'll get them all tipped in and from the container as well. And only one escaped. I'll count that as a winner. It's getting full though. But we'll get it as flat as we can and get it closed off. And delabel everything. I only don't reuse the labels often because they just don't stick right. Okay, 825. I've got that in round. the only thing with doing so many projects is you have to put them all away. 825, okay, and 826. I also have a baggie for that. You know how I said my memory card saves after I've waffled on for so long? Yeah, it just did that. It makes it great when it gets to editing, but hey ho. Okay, 832 just makes editing a bit more fun. But I'd rather do that than it lose footage by not being able to save. So we'll take the pluses with the minuses. Okay, so you'll be happy to know we're very nearly at the end of this first box of spares. And we get to move on to the next one. So I'm keeping hold of all those bags. I'll be able to pass them back to my daughter. So 832. And then what's next? 869. 869 should be that one. It is, and I don't have one. So 869-R. Need to remember I'm on rounds. That's a benefit of doing rounds and squares separate as well. I know you sort of go through the numbers again, but it just stops that little bit of confusion. I haven't done it yet. I've said it now. I haven't done it yet when I've managed to put round diamonds and square diamonds of the same colour together. Though I'm sure it will happen at some point with the amount of dekitting that gets done. Okay, so that's 869, and then we've got 890, which I do have. Oh, I do have a bag, and it's actually been used in 2 paintings, so that makes that a little bit quicker. So 890 out of one bag and 890 out of a tub. And I've actually just realised there's a diamond that's still in there. I've obviously had a diamond escape as well, and I've just spotted that there's one tucked under there, but I'm not hunting down what that one is. There is only so far that I will go. Okay, and then the last in this box will be 898, which I do have. I do have it in round, and I actually have a spare packet of round as well, so I'll be combining all of those together. So let's get the tub in, because that's, ooh, that label didn't decide to be nice to me, did it? So that's another strip done. Whoop, whoop. And we've got a baggie. And then I will also empty out this packet. Rounds don't come in packets that often, like in separate individual packets, but some sellers do. And I've obviously had that left over from something, but it's all going together now. So 898. Clear away all my little stickers that I've piled up on my desk next to me, and that is that box of spares done. Just get some of these to sit down just a little bit more, because of course they bunch up at the bottom where the diamonds bunch up, but that is one box down. So let me move that out the way, and we'll bring it up. Let's get rid of that diamond that's no longer got a home. And this is my 900s, 3000s, and then it does also have just colours for the sort of crystal gemmy type ones as well, so that's why I figured we'd leave those to the end. So 900s wise, there's always a lot of 900s as well. 93s, 90s, 99s, 95s, 97s, 93s, 99s, 91, and then just have a strip of 4 of 900s from this other kit. So we'll start, oh, bob on 900. So that should be right here at the front. And it is. I thought it wasn't then. I thought I didn't have my little card. I thought I was going to have to get the other box. But I do. I just don't have any yet. So 900-R. Let's get those. Their new home. And they are very static. Sometimes just running your finger around in the container can help it a little bit. At least it's on a corner one. No. Just going to try and pull them out on my finger and put them in the baggie. That's not worked very well either, has it? Okay, maybe I'll try the tray. While these containers are pretty good at staying closed, I do like to put my hands over the others when I tip any out, just to make sure. Just to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere. There we go. So I don't know if you guys have joined the Facebook group or not yet, those of you that are watching. But I have created a Facebook group and you should be able to, you know, discuss things that I've done or ideas or questions that you may have on there, and that gives chance for other people to comment and you know, a discussion to take place more than just the comment section, that doesn't always allow that. Also, it gives me a chance to let you guys know what's coming up, just so that you can, you know, it also gives me a chance to get, oh, that one's already in a baggie of the right size. Yeah, it gives me a chance to sort of find out as well, you know, get feedback from you guys on what sort of videos you like and what sort of videos you don't. I can often tell by the view count quite often, but it's nice to be able to have a discussion over stuff as well. So hop over there if you want to see some of the latest. Have a discussion over what sort of things are on order as well. Maybe things I've got coming in so that you can see what they're like. So that one's the right type of bag as well, so I'll just save that one that I've half prepped and I'm sure I'll get to use it. So 917. Okay, what's next? 919. So 917. 919. Do I have a baggie? I don't. There we go. We'll use this one. So 919-R. There's a lot of nines. And that Diamond Art Club painting seems to have the most. That wasn't easy to do in my left hand. They all got stuck on my thumb. Okay, so that's 919. Anybody else getting tired now? It's a long process. I've just spotted another diamond that's got away from itself. And I've just realised the reason that I don't always know when my battery is about to go is because it doesn't tell me until it's about to go. Just notice when I'm recording I have no battery symbol until it starts flashing at me. Oh well. Okay, 937, 938 I have some of. I'll pull them out. Looks like they need a bit of a rearrange. And 939. So we'll do those as sort of a set of 3. So 938. I've got 3 different baggies for those, all in round, because I used to just de-kit my paintings. When I first started, I just used to de-kit them as an individual painting into baggies, and then I'd just throw the baggies in, so I could end up with multiple baggies for one colour, as is the case here. I've now changed because that's just too many baggies. In a way it was easier because you could just kit them all up and then throw them all into the spares box at a later time, but it definitely isn't the most practical way of doing it unless you want to go through loads and loads of baggies and in turn need more storage. Okay, so that's 938. That's at least combined that a bit. Let's see, these Dymo labels don't always pull off these bags nicely. Well, that one did. Sometimes they leave quite a horrible residue. And speaking of batteries, it's now flashing at me. So I'm going to keep going until it just goes off, because it will save. And then you'll know why. So I've done it again. It's not a square. 937. Oh, right. Try again. 937-R. How much can I muck one label up? That much, obviously. I'll see if I can get to the end of the 9s, or close. If I can't. I knew it'd happen as soon as I open my mouth to say it. So these are now done, so let's get these ones in. So 937, 938 and 939 is in 2 bags. I just topped up one of them so it's a bit fuller, but I'm definitely have loads. Okay, so next is 955, going along in order, and we don't have that one. So see if I can write a label properly this time. I'm waiting for my memory card to say it's full now. And then I'm definitely going to have to do some editing before I finish off. So hopefully I can get to the end of this de-kitting, or mammoth. There's like 3 round kits in this, and then a couple of special shape ones. Hopefully I can get to the end of it all before it shouts at me. If not, you guys will still see the video as one anyway. And then I'll have to get some editing done before I think about kitting anything else up. Okay, 97. So we've got 972. 972 we don't have one for, and then I've got 977, of which I only have square. So sometimes it's just worth doing that quick check if they're close in number, just because then you can do them sort of in bulk, a little bit of bulk. So at the minute I'm still reusing the baggies that I've already, in fact that one doesn't need it, reusing the baggies that I've, you know, tipped into other ones. I've not had to dip into my bag stash yet. I'm sure that will come in time. So we'll use that for this one, which was 977, and then this one, which is 972, we'll just switch the label over and bob in a piece of paper to keep it upright. So, and pop them back. So we've got 972 and then 977, of which we only have the squares. Okay, so we've got 198, which is a 987. And I don't have that one either, do I? I can tell because the pieces of card are sticking together, which means they haven't got something in between them. So 987-1. R, nearly put S. I nearly did it. Ooh, static in this one. Come on. Just fish out the last of them floating around. We've got 987, and that's another strip done. Nearly ended up finishing one case off. So 987. Okay, then we've got a lot of 99s now, so we'll do these ones in bulk. So we've got 991, 992, 993, 995 and 996. So let's just pull this a little bit closer. So 991 I've only got in square. I will keep that out just because it needs a piece of paper. 992 I've only got in square. 993 I have in round. 995 I have in round, and 996 I have in round. Okay, so 991 I only have square. I just want to pop a piece of paper into that one, and then we need labels for those two. So 991 and 992. And we are going to need paper for a few of these because okay. I like it when paintings use the DMC colours that are close together, because you know you're likely to get a bit of shading. So 991, 2 and 3 are sort of just shades of green along the same line, so quite often you get a nice effect with that. So that's one. And then the next one, next shade of green, and then it does go into blue, but I don't think there is a DMC number that's 994. I'll have a look actually in a minute and see if I've got a card for it. That tells me whether it's a number that's on DMC's list. So that's 992. And then the next shade of green. With what looks like a rogue yellow, but I haven't got the time to fish out all the rogue ones either, so the little rogue yellow can just stay there. And then we've got 995, and I think it was 995 in a square. I think that was the first colour that I ever ran out of, first and only colour that I ever ran out of, and I only needed about 20 to finish the painting. And I think it was because they sent me one bag, but the amount I actually needed for the painting was like 196. So if those small bags that hold 200, if the count was off, which in turn it was, there was nowhere near enough. And that's what happened. But a lovely lady came to my rescue and sent me a baggie, so all is well in the world. Okay, so now we get to put them away in bulk, which is always a little bit easier. So 991, especially when they go up in order. 992, 993. There is no 994, so that's why it does a skip before it goes to blue. Okay, so that's all the 900s done. So now we're on the 3000s. So the 3000s I tend to split up a little bit different. So I do the 3 3s, the 3 7s, the 3 8s, and then there's 3 zeros. Oh, and there's 3 6s as well. So that's a 3 7, 3 7, 3 6. That's a 3 8. That's a 3 8, 3 3, and that's a 3 0. And then I will get out. Oh, my daughter's bags are just exploding everywhere. I'll tidy them up for in a bit. So we'll start here. They've got 3 3s in and 3 6s. So 3041 is the only 3 0. And 3041, we do already have a baggie. Doesn't have the paper. And then we do have a spare bag of rounds as well as a separate. So I'm going to put them all in together. Now some of these, for example this one, I don't have like a bag of squares saved in there, and that's just because they're this number, I'm pretty sure this number is in my Heaven and Earth Designs, so all my spares for my squares are in that storage until the project's done. So 3041. Okay, then we go on to 3 3s. So we've got 3371 there both together, and we've got 3328. So 3328 is first. And I've got a baggie. And I've got 2 bits of paper. 3371 is another popular colour, which in fact both of those two are popular colours, which is why I think I've got them in more than one painting. So, and then we jump to 337. 3371. Where's it gone? There it is. So I have a bag for this. You can tell it's one of my older ones. So I must have had this from a painting in the beginning because it's got my Dymo label on it. Pile them all together. Shading is normally a lot better on these darker colours because there's just not much chance of any shade difference being noticed. Okay, and then we go to the 3 6s. So in this instance we have 2, 3607 and 3608, so I'll pull those both out together, and I do have them both. 3607 I've obviously packed up more recently, and in this case all 3 paintings used it, so I'll throw them all in. And that takes down on that. Ooh. That one didn't want to get picked up. Nearly got ditched out the bag then because it didn't want to go in. I've just got this pile of baggies either side of me in 2 different sizes. So that's that one, and then 3608 just needs a piece of card, and that's that one done. Sometimes the diamonds just don't let the card push down enough. That's why I don't recommend you do it as big as the bag, just because of adjusting it around the diamonds. So that's those 2. Okay, so 3 7s. We've got 3752 that already looks like 2 different colours. 46 and 99. Have I got any more? No, those next ones go on to 3 8s. So 3746 is the next one, and I only have that in square. So 3746-R, and I need a piece of paper for the squares. Nearly there, people, or at least nearly there on the rounds. And then I've just got the special shapes and the ABs to deal with. And then I think it'll be sit down and edit before I kit up another one. Hang on. Oh yeah. I was like that, like I've done a label and I didn't need one, but I did because it's square and round. I'm losing it. Okay, 3746, and then we've got 3752. Okay, so again that's one that I've got both the rounds and a spare bag, so we'll get these all combined and make it a little bit easier. So for this one, another little milestone reached. That storage is now ready for another kit. Whoop whoop. It's like a task complete. You've got to give yourself that little bit of satisfaction when you reach a stage where things are looking a little bit clearer. And then we'll get these combined in as well. They are completely different colours. Okay, 3752, that's that one done. Okay, 3756. Now this is the one that I have absolutely bucket tons of in square, and look, a little bag for round at the end. So we'll bob those in. I need to maybe find a Heaven and Earth designed that uses 3756 so that I can use up some of those Ever Moment ones. I had loads left. Okay, and then last 37 is 3799, so that's right near the end. 3799, do I have it in round? I do. And that's like a very dark grey, this colour. It's quite popular in some cross stitch patterns that I've done. Popular dark grey. Okay. No, and there is a 3779 as well, so you do have to make sure that you don't get confused, which I often do, but there we go. 3799. Okay, so that's all the 37s. So we've got the last hurdle, which is 3/8. And I'm just getting a phone call, so I'll be back with you. Hi, so I took the phone call and then ended up stopping for a brew and stuff as well. So I hope you guys have paused and had your rest, because I've just had mine. Okay, so first up, 803 and 804. I don't have either in round. I'm looking at the first couple of numbers that I need here. So yeah, I'm ditching the 3 at the beginning when I say 803 and 804. Just because it's always easier to remember 3 numbers than it is to remember 4. And I think I've run out of paper again. Too busy feeding myself to actually think and plan before I hit record again. Let's see how far we get before I have to pause and cut some more paper. I don't want to cut too much in bulk and then end up with loads that is just cut to size when I might need the paper for something else. So the last batch, I think I cut 3 sheets of paper up ready. Okay, so 3803 and 3804, which I do have in squares, I just don't have in rounds. And then 3810 is actually the next one. 3810 I do have, and they need some organisation. 3814 I don't have, and 3819 I don't have. Okay, so I'm sort of doing all the 381s. So 380 I've got a label for. 3814 I don't, and 3819 I don't. So that's square, so that just needs a piece of paper in a moment. This 3810, this is a bag of rounds, so I need to compile all of these, and I need my paper, don't I? I'll be back. Okay, I have paper. So 3810 in rounds. Back where were we? This feels like a very sort of disorganised de-kitting at the moment, but teach me to decide to do it on camera. So that's 3810 in round, and I'll pop a piece of paper in the square as well, and then we'll get the other 2 numbers bagged up. So 3814, this one, YouTube is going to love me processing stuff later. And then 3819, which actually these all seem to have got themselves into one corner. Let's try cutting that off, see if that works. Ooh, there is a couple that are hidden over in this corner, but oh look, why did we learn that at this time? That's a lot easier. Right, let's pop some, say, thick paper in this one and tap them to get them to go down the little funnel. And that was 3819. Okay, so let's pop these away. So we've got 3810, 3814 and 3819. Okay, what's next, people? So 3827 is the only next one that we've got in the 2s, and I've got a bag for squares but not for rounds. So 3827-R. Get that put back in. Need to get the labels off this one. Okay, 3827. So that's that one bobbed in. So say this one, I did end up kitting up another kit. I didn't have anything, I'd done all the ones that I'd done before, so those 2 fit with this, and then the rest will just sort of sit back in there until I've finished that one. I can de-kit that as well. I was thinking of waiting until this one was done and then I could do them all together, but there'll always be more. Okay, so 383s, I've got 3 of them, so let's have a look at all of those first. So 3834, I've got there, 3835, and 38. Oh, now this says 3836, but I don't have a 3836 as an actual card. I didn't realise that was a number, unless I've put it in. Okay, so I do have a few spare sort of divider cards. So 3836, I didn't have that down as a DMC number, so we'll do one for the front of the card, and then we'll do 3836-R for the actual baggie. But we can do the others because we've got them ready. So 3834 and 3835. In round, and then we need a new one for 3836. Cool, made a mess of that. Let's try and catch them before they go everywhere. And it didn't work with them at all. Just more. Right, I think I've got them all. Got them all enough that I'm not bothered anymore. So 3836 we'll put on there, and then a label with just the number on I'll put at the top. So let's go again. 3834 can go in, 3835, and then we end up with a card for 3836 and the diamonds. And that label doesn't want to come off. So they are pretty good at coming off these tubs, these labels, which is good. Okay, so they're 385s, but these are 384s. So 3843 and 3846. So 3843 I have in round, and 3846 I have in round. Bob in my little bit of paper. And that's one. They look very staticky, the ones that are in this bag. Not the ones that I'm tipping in, but the ones that are in the bag themselves. But we'll mix them all together. Okay, so 3843 and 3846. Okay, last two. We've got 3852 and 3856. So 3852 I do not have, and 3856 I do not have. So last two of the day we need to create bags for, and this is just for the rounds. You just get rid of, just fold up the bags that need to go back to my daughter. That's those. Okay. So 3852-R and 3856-R. Brain gone west. Okay. So 3852, we'll get the label off that one because that's just a little bit of satisfaction. And then we've only got the AB and the special diamonds to go. And I'll show you what I do with those. I don't know why I'm doing this in this order, but okay, let's put the labels away because I don't think I'll need them anymore. If not, they're very handy to get hold of anyway. Put that in there, get rid of that, and that can go back to the project that I'm currently doing. So that can go back in the front room. Let's get these away. So 3852 and 3856. Okay, so I then I have even more cards here, but then I have the rest sort of separated by colour. So I have like purple, pink, blues, all the rest of it. So with my special diamonds, I'll get them out of the packaging. So we've got an orange, a yellow, silver, empty baggie, don't need that, pink, black, and then we've got sort of an orange, that I'd say is pink, and then we do the same again. So we've got orange, silver, silver, yellow. Hang on, which one was it? That one was more yellow. They were more orange. That's probably more yellow. That's probably more orange, black and silver. So that's sort of roughly how I work them out to start off with. And then if I go through in order, so for my pink, I do have a few bags. I have a bag for different shapes, and then I have a few different shades of pink. So this bag is any pink ones that are not just a standard crystal. So any pink that are sort of a different shape, they just all go in the same one. They don't tend to be in big quantities. I can always fish them out if I need to. I do need to combine some of these just because I do think I have too many pinks of a similar colour together. So each time I go through these, I tend to combine a few more bags together. They're not going to be exactly the same, but I do just want the shading roughly. You know, so we've got more of a hottie type pink, then we've got these two are probably, that's more of a cerise pink, a pale pink, and then I think these two can go together as well. And I should probably put the bits of paper in with these as well to start making these stand up a little bit more. And then I just need to work out what's that one the closest to, probably the bag that I'm in. So let's tip those in as well. And that's sort of how I store my crystal ones. It's not perfect, but I've done so many little projects now that have used crystals that you just end up with you know, a few left, that you could in effect end up with a whole DMC box just for crystals as well. And I think, okay, so that's the pink in 3, and then the different shapes for pink. So that's combined those a little bit better. And then we haven't got any red, black, we've got black. Now black tends to just be in 2 types because after all black is black. We have those that don't have crystal backs, which probably are more like normal drills, but the cutting is different to what a normal round drill would be. And then I have the ones with the silver backs. So that's quite easy for black. Black is an easy colour. Yes, there are different shades of black, but in diamonds it tends to be black and black. In clothing and decoration, it's probably a lot different. Okay, so that's black. and then silver. I'll see, I already have put some. So silver, I actually have some here that are more like a really dark grey. So they're probably a bit in between silver and black. Then I have silver, and then I have the different shapes in silver. So of all the ones I've got here, I've got 2 that are normal and 2 that are different. So quite easy to combine these ones together. Gets a bit tricky when you get to the blues and the greens and the pinks and the yellows. Colours just merge a little bit more, but that's anything that is not a standard crystal shape. Got quite a few now in silver, and then we've just got silver crystals, and they just all go in one. Have to do some projects with these gems soon, I think. Have to look and see if I can. I've got at least one idea for using some of the crystals that are left over, but find the time to do that soon enough. Okay, so that's silver. Blue we don't have to deal with today, which is good because there's loads. Yellow. Okay, so for yellow, I do have some that are AB, and then I have just tried to be very, you know, light yellow, dark yellow. That's it. And the different shapes. Like, I'm not messing with these too much. So for the different shapes, we've got some more stars that came from the nightlight that I did. And that's that one. We'll pop a piece of card into this one, but I don't really have any that are pale, or at least that paler yellow. And then I'm trying to work out whether that's probably more yellow and that's possibly more orange. Got them. That's the only thing, yellow and orange can be very hard. Which one's got more of a tone of one than the other? Get them to lie as flat as possible before I squeeze the air out, and then I might have more chance of getting them in. Okay, so that's yellow. Then I don't have any green, but I do have some orange. Orange, I definitely have a few more. So I have a couple of AB ones. They were from a Timney Arts, so those I do keep separate. I don't know what, it would be nice to know what the equivalent DMC colour is and potentially store them there. I think some of these oranges need to go together as well. It's sort of orange and brown. Okay, so I do have one that's a different shape. So that's easy enough to get away because they just all go together. So that's that one. And then I have a few different shades of orange. So I think those two are very similar, and I think they need to go in there. I think that one potentially needs to go back into the yellows. And I think I might even combine all of those together. So when you sort of look at them and put them all together, I think these are just all going to go together as orange, and the others are going to go together as more of a brown. Because again, if I do end up being short for any particular painting, like I was with a bag, even though I did find a replacement in the end, only after I'd done the bag, like an item I received at a later date and finished, it still is a very slightly different shade. Okay, so we'll put all those together as orange. When I first combined these together, oh, I had so many bags all in one. And then we'll just put these two shades of brown together. not very often you don't have enough. I've only had it once on a diamond painting and once with one of these special type drills. Okay, so that's orange, and I'm just going to knit back to yellow before I do the white AB. Knit back to yellow. There was this yellow and then and I'm going to pop these in here. I think they go better. Okay, so that goes back in yellow, and then when we go to white, to be fair, there is AB, which again is the 141 AB, and then these are more of a pearl than an AB. So I am going to do a label for this, and I am going to stick to the 141 AB. The difference is this one is a round, whereas these that I already have are a square. And then of course I have some different shapes, but they're more pearly than they are white. But I know I do have some round AB. Why I've just done that I don't know, because this bag is the right size bag. Oh well, I'm there now. Yeah, I know I do have some white AB in another little sticker painting that I've not yet done. So that is the rhinestone sorted as well. So that's quite a few different projects that have all been put away. Yes, they've all been put away at once, which can sometimes take quite a while. But hopefully that gives you some idea of how I store all of my diamonds, and I hope it's kept some of you entertained while you're doing whatever you're doing. But yeah, that's now all away. I'm going to get some stuff sorted and get some videos sorted, but there will be a kitting up coming, because even though I've got one on the go, I do want to try my new storage from Fancel, so I will be doing some kitting up in with that. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to get all these bags tidied up and away, and I'll be speaking to you all again soon.